Let's have a look at another classic. This one's Cobra from 1977. Strategy and Tactics magazine number 65. And as it says there, Patton's 1944 Summer Offensive in France. And I believe this was first published in the magazine there, number 65. It was then the same game published in a Japanese magazine. Then it was given a second edition in a box. Then there was a third edition that again appeared in Strategy and Tactics magazine. This is the original one. Right, I will go through some of the parts that make up a turn and show you some of the bits and pieces. I think I read somewhere it was based on Panzer Group Guderian. Might be wrong on that. But this one does have some tweaks to the rules to make it specific to this battle. So let me show you some parts of the map and then we'll go through parts of a turn. Right, you're going to have to remember this because I won't be able to show you the results tables and so on when I'm doing it because the whole thing is printed on the map. So this is the very top right of the map, and your usual stuff, you've got key for the terrain. You've then got movement points here for the different types of terrain, and most of the kind of combat things work on column shifts. So this is the column shifts that you get for defense. Some blab here, and I shall try and move across without bumping things. Here we have the combat results table, and again, usual stuff. Add up one side's numbers, add up the other side's numbers, divide, get a ratio, possibly apply some modifiers, which are going to be, as I say, column shifts, and you get your result. Bob's your auntie. Right, this is where it gets slightly different when it comes across here. When I stop bumping things, here we go. We get to this part. Over here we have our turn track at the top here. And where it differs slightly is that you have numbers here that are telling you the date, first of all. You've got a number, which I'll try and pick one that you should be able to see hopefully. So you have the US here at the top on the blue line. It says 6/3. The 6 is command level points and the 3 is supply points. The British are here below it and it says 5/3. Same again. And then it just tells you that you have here and here you have reinforcements coming in. So I'm going to go for turn 5 here and I'll show you how that works. The whole idea behind the command level and the supply points is that, as you'll see here, this is supply points and you carry them from turn to turn if you don't use them. So in this case the US has 3 and the British Canadians have 4. So when it gets to their turn, they're going to go up by the 3 and 3 in this case. Most of the time it is always just 3 and 3. And the supply points are how many attacks you can do on the Germans. So right now the US could only do 3 attacks on the Germans in their turn and that's it. But come their turn they'll have 6, British will have 7. The 6 is for command level, and command level is the most amount of battles that you can have. So in this case we'll say that the British have 7 supply points. Well, in this example here the most battles they can do is 5. So even though they have 7 potential, they can only do 5 maximum. So they're kind of limited there. The other thing that affects things is I've been using a dice just to remember what's happening in this table, which is weather. So The previous turn I did was turn 4, and we had clear weather. So when the Germans take their turn, they're going to roll on the clear column to see what the weather will be. If they get overcast, then in the British Canadian turn, they would roll on the overcast column and see what weather is going to be there. Why do you bother with the weather? Glad you asked. Over here, it tells you that if you have clear weather, the Germans can only do 1/3 of their movement. If it's overcast, 2/3. And if it's stormy, they get full movement allowance. Now, for the British Canadian, if it's clear, they get 6 air points. Overcast, 3 air points, and if it's stormy, no air points. The idea of the air points, and again I've been using a dice just to remind myself, if the British Canadians had 6 air points, it means that you can only do 1 point per battle, but it means that for 6 battles you can do a column shift to your advantage. So the whole idea being that if it is stormy, the British can't do the air points and the Germans get to go full movement. And the opposite, if it's clear, the British can bomb and the Germans then can't move. So the whole weather thing, either, it'll help one side and it'll hinder the other side. That's the best way to think about it. Right. Right, that was a lot. Let me show you the map. Let me show you the whole thing with all the counters. Right, here is the map. And up this side of the map is the tables I was showing you there, which are awkwardly at an angle, just to make it hard to read. But you have the north, east, south and west. And up here you've got the Germans coming up and the British Canadians and the Americans coming down. The idea is to have some of the American units come down the map and go out the bottom west. So bottom left of the map. The German units want to go out to the west, to the east, the right hand side of the map. So that's their whole goal, but the way I've been playing it is just messing around, trying it. Obviously I'm playing both sides. I've been doing it that both have been quite stubborn and that they've just been trying to hold each other back. Whether that's the best way or not, I doubt it, but that's the way I've been doing it. So let's make a start on turn 5 and I'll show you some of the different things that happen. Right, turn 5, and the German player will do all their actions, then it will switch to the Allied player and they do pretty much the same actions. So the first thing we need to do is the weather. In turn 4, the Allies had clear weather. So we're going to roll on that table, see what the Germans get. 2. So it's going to be overcast. So the weather will be overcast. That means that the Germans have 2/3 their movement that are on their markers, and the Allies, we don't give them air points yet because it's not their turn. So we're going to go with that. Overcast for the Germans it is. Next thing we do for the Germans is a replacement phase. And the replacement phase is that they can upgrade any damaged units that are 1 panzer unit they get to upgrade and 2 infantry units. But there is a clause. The units that you're going to upgrade must be 3 or more hexes away from the enemy. So in this case we can do this guy here. He is damaged. In fact, I should mention the grey and the black are obviously the Germans. I'll come to the green ones later on. This guy here is damaged, and he is at least about 4 hexes away for the nearest enemy, so we are going to upgrade him. So he has been replaced. This guy is a panzer unit, and he can also be upgraded, but 1, 2, 3. So this guy's too close. He cannot be upgraded. He doesn't qualify. This guy could do with being upgraded, and again, he is, you know, only 2 hexes away, so no go. Similar idea here. So really that's about the only one that can be replaced, is that guy. The other ones are all too close, or they're already at full strength, so that's that. But that is it for the replacement phase. There's no others on the map on the right hand side. This is the left hand side, top left. Next we have movement phase, and this is where we can also bring in reinforcements. And I had the reinforcements just above the turn track there. I think I may have mentioned it, I don't know. If not, the counters above the turn track are the reinforcements. In this case it's going to be 4 infantry and an HQ. HQs are these guys. So we'll bring them in a second, but we'll do the movement first. So, need to remember, 2/3. They only get to move 2/3. The problem for the Germans is that a lot of their units are really weak and crap. So you get these guys are a 2 each for strength and 9 for movement. So they could move in total 6 movement points. But do these guys, 2 2s to make a 4, do they want to go up against a 4 or a 9? Not really. So a lot of these guys don't really want to try and take on the American units. These guys though, they've got a good chance. They get 3 3s, so that's a 9 in strength, and they can go 6 movement points. They could try and take on something. They certainly don't want to take on these guys, because that's 2 6s, it's a 12, and that's not going to end well. I suppose they could come up here somewhere. There's not much cover right enough, but you can use the minor rivers and the major rivers to get defense bonuses, and that was on the terrain key thing on the map. Unless these guys try and team up with somebody else. If you go up a main road, this big thick line, that's a main road, that's a kind of minor road. A major road's half a movement point, so they can go 1, 2, they can go 3 up to there, or they could go 1, 2, and then try and move up here, 4, 6. If they joined these guys to try and take on these guys, you would have, what are these guys? 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 plus 9 against 9 plus these guys. Still wouldn't be the greatest. 1-to-1 ratio is obviously a 50-50 chance you're going to win. And some results are that you both take damage. So, you're kind of wanting a much higher chance. And the Germans really don't have it in most cases. As I say, things like this where they've got a 2. These guys are going to have to team up with somebody else. These guys can move 4. So what I can do is, I could actually move these guys up to here, which would be half a point. Then, let's see, what's that? That's the light forest, 2 movement points, so that would be 2.5. They can go 4. So I'm going to team them up. So they've moved, and what I've been doing is just marking them to say they've moved. Otherwise, I get completely lost and don't remember who's done what. These guys are a 1. They definitely don't want to tackle anybody. So if they move back into the light forest, that would be 2. If they move back again, it would be 4. So they're going to move to there. If they can get far enough away, they could qualify for the replacements. If they're lucky. Let's see. These guys. They're a 4. If we did these guys and that 2, that would be 6 against 4. Still not a great ratio. Nah, let's not do that. That'd be bad. That's going to end in tears. We have a 4 and a 2 is a 6. No point in going to go. Well, no, that's a 12. So we would have to rope in these guys. Again, it would still be a 1-to-1. What we got here then? We have a 4 and a 2. It'd be a 6. We could have, these guys are a 6, these guys are a 6. If they both ganged up on this guy, that'd be against 8. So 12 against 8 would still effectively be a 1-to-1. This is what keeps happening. You end up with just loads of 1-to-1. Right, we're going to move them in there anyway, see what happens. So they are going to move in there. And either these 2 guys can go for this guy, or these 2 can go for this guy. We'll see what happens. So they've moved. We're going to move these, both maybe. Yeah, we'll move them back a bit. That way this guy can qualify to upgrade next time. As long as the Americans don't come down. If they do, he's screwed. These guys are in good cover. Should they move? These guys can go 6. So that would be a minor road. Minor road would be 1 movement point, 1, 2, and then you would be in the, could go into the city. It's a minor city. Okay. So 2, 1, 2, and then into there. So another 2, I think it is. So he's moved. This guy's not in a good position, so he wants to effectively just get the hell out of Dodge, because there's no way a 2 can beat a 6 or a 12. He is just going to get completely beaten. So he is going to go down the main road, I think, which would be 1, 2, we'll say he sits there, just in the light forest, I think it is. Right there. This is an HQ. We'll leave him there. These guys, no point in them moving up. These guys can certainly move up because they are quite hefty. 5, 10, 18. So they're in 18. They are actually quite hefty and good. So if, I'm just going to try and move this along a bit without making a mess of things. Oh yeah. Oh, destined for a job in the BBC at this rate. Right, so if we can bundle up some of these guys and these guys, we would have a really good chance at taking somebody on. So if I use, this guy's got 6, 6 and 6 to use, they could all move into there. What's this guy? He's a 5. That makes it a mobile unit. So if we chance it and put him there, and him on top, they move to there. These guys can move, what, 8? So they can move 8, which would be half, 1 to there, 2 and 4. Oh yeah, loads and loads of movement points. They can move in there. They can probably gang up on that 6. Right. Let's see. What other damage can I do? Again, moving across to the right. Leave these guys where they are. Well, what's this guy? 7. Yeah. Not much of a hope there. You can stay there. These guys are okay. If you're in the zone of control, the way you can get out of it is to use, or to forfeit if you like, 2 movement points and whatever terrain value. So if this guy was to move, he could use 2 to get out, and then say another 2 for this, another 2 for that, say, and that would get him away. You can do it that way. We'll leave these guys where they are. We're not going to, as I say, I've been doing it, that they've been all very stubborn and nobody's going to retreat, that kind of thing, unless they really have to. Doesn't make for the most exciting game, right enough, but, you know, what the hell. And these guys will leave most of them where they are. Yeah. So that's it for German movement, but I still have reinforcements to bring in. So here we have the reinforcements, and as I say, this guy's in HQ, and there's 4 infantry units near the same strength, same movement. You can see here very tiny numbers. It says 5E. That means it comes in the 5th turn, and it must come in the east edge of the map. And this guy is the same. Tells you in the back 5E. So they come in turn 5, must come in the east edge of the map, which means that they are going to come in on this side, anywhere right down the whole length of the map. But obviously it makes sense to bring them in up here somewhere to come across. So the leader can do 12 movement. That becomes 8. He can go down the main road, I suppose. If he comes down this main road, then he's going to be laughing, because he can then do effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I don't want to go that far, because I'm thinking maybe bringing them up this way, but if we were to tackle the Allies across this river up here, then they're going to get a defensive bonus. There's already a leader there and a leader there, or an HQ, so I don't want to put them all in the same place. Should we then go down this minor road? Means I can only go 8 hexes though. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nah, that's pretty useless. The idea is that these guys, I'm kind of giving away the cliffhanger here, but these guys, because they're HQ, they can give a column shift bonus in a combat. So you want them to be, in this case, the 4. You want the units to be 4 hexes near this, or within 4 hexes of this guy, so that they can get a bonus in a battle. So that's why I thought putting them up here, these two guys would get the bonus of this guy. But it's pretty pointless. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to bring them in just on that main road and then decide what to do with them later. Right, 1, 2, 3, oops, 1, 2, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's see, 6 to there. Yeah, we'll leave it at 6. We'll get 4 that are 3 in strength, and they can go 6 movement points. So that would be, whoops, I'll use one of them just as an example. That could be 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I suppose, yeah, let's dump these guys here. Let's dump them in there, and at some point I'll decide what to do with them later. But that's the reinforcements. They're in, done, on the way. Probably would be better if they were on the west edge, but never mind. Movement phase is done. German combat. The Germans don't have any limit as to how many battles that they can have, so the Germans can really just have at it. But again, this all kind of balances that they can have as many attacks as they like, but as I say, when you've got a 2 against a 9, you avoid that like the plague. We have this guy, as I say, we have a 3, and I think that's 2 4s. Yep, so we have an 11 against a 9. It's a 1-to-1 though. So again, we have to look at it and say, right, let's look at this. We have 4 plus 4 plus 3. We have 11. And they have 9. As I say, that's going to be effectively a 1-to-1. Now, we get a bonus because we're within radius of this HQ here. He's got a 4 hex radius, so we get a bonus for that. Now, let me see. Command radius. We're in the offensive, so we get to go 1 right on the column. So it's now 2-to-1 in our favour. But this kind of yellowy stuff that these guys are in is bocage. That gets them a 1 column shift left on the chart. So now we're back to 1-to-1 again. And there's nothing between us, there's no rivers or anything. So he's not in trees or anything crazy like that. So we're back to 1-to-1. So the HQ is nulled by this bocage that he's in. So we're back to a 1-to-1. Do we want to risk it? We may as well. Right. This is what you have to remember what that chart said way back. Because I don't want to swing the camera around, put it back onto the chart again, but we get a 1. And that is a 1 damage to the defender. Or, well, I shouldn't say a 1 damage, but what is going to happen is this guy now has to either take 1 damage from his 9 strength. He's already took a hit because originally he was a 12. So he can either take 1 damage or he can retreat 1 hex. What will he do? Sometimes what I was doing was I would just use the dice and say, well, 1, 2, 3, he retreats. 4, 5, 6, he takes the damage. In this case, we'll say retreats. So he is going to retreat 1 hex. So this guy has done his battle. And that's basically it. That's all we do. We just weigh it up and see, you know, can we actually defeat these guys? A 6 against a 12, 12, 12. Nope. What we could do is draft these guys in, and they're a 3 and a 3, so we could have a 6 and a 6, 12 against 12. Again, he is going to get column shift for the bocage. We would not get a bonus for a leader because there is no leader nearby, so that would be a dud. That would be in his favour, so nah, that's not happening. Got 2 4s, we've got an 8 there, we've got a 6 there, and we've got a 6 there, so we've got 12 against an 8. Again, effectively that's a 1 to 1. We've got no leader bonus. Nah, that's not worth it either. Screw that. Moving a bit more to the right, we have this plan here that was a possibility, which was a 6 plus we have 18. So that would give us 24. 24 potentially against a 6. So that would give us good odds. But the only thing is, there is a river running right up the middle of there. So we would have to take a column shift for that if we included these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. We would be able to get a bonus because of this leader if we took on this guy. Okay, so if we went across a minor river, it would be a 1 column shift for him. So that would completely negate this guy, but this guy's bonus. But we would still be 4 to 1, I think it is. Yeah, 4 to 1. So it would be 4 to 1, and let me see. We can get a bonus though, because where is it? Oops. These guys are all tanks. So that would get us even more of a shift. I think that gets us, I might be wrong in this one, but I think you can combine the tank column shifts, which would effectively give us 3 column shifts. So we would end up being 7 to 1, which, you know, would effectively just blow this guy completely. So yeah, we're going to go on that, we're going to work on that, that we've got 4 to 1. His in fact, no, tell a lie, it would be 6 to 1, because he's going to get 1 for the bocage area that he's in. I never took that into account. I took the water into account, negating him, but yeah, so it'd be 6 to 1. 6 to 1 on the chart is a 4, and that would be a of all the results on the chart, I get a 1 2, which means that we have to take potentially 1 damage, but he's got to take 2 damage or retreat 2 hexes. You cannot do 1 damage and 1 retreat. It's either or, damage or retreat. What will he do? Will he take the 2 damage? If he took 2 damage, 1 would flip it to a 3 and the other would be doom. so he would be a goner. So I would have to think he's going to want to do a retreat of 2 hexes. Our guys, we need to take 1 damage or retreat. The both that were involved, both would have to retreat. I think we just have this guy take the rap for it. He's already been damaged to a 2, 4 to a 2. He can take the damage, he can take the rap for it. Right, and these guys remain. See what else we got. We have 4. That would just give us a 12. Nah, it's not worth it. These guys, we have a 5. 5 and a 6. So that'd be 16. 16 against 12, 15. Nah, it's not really worth it. We would get some column shifts for the HQ, but we would need to lose one for the water, lose one for the bocage, and all that jazz. Yeah, nah, this one's not really worth it. Nah. Okay, so we'll say that I have done all of the combat for the Germans, so that's finished. The last thing the Germans do is a mechanised movement phase, so anything that's obviously tanks, that kind of thing, gets to move. And there's one away up kind of top left, which is just out of the camera but I'll move up. But the other one is this guy. They're all tanks, they can move 8. Let's see, because there's a slightly different movement points for mechanised than for infantry. Heavy, forest or hills, but we don't have any of that, so we're all good. So these guys can actually move up, maybe even take on this guy next, who knows. But none of the other ones are going to move. So pretty much that is it. The German player is finito. So, Allied player turn this time. And first thing, same as the Germans, we do the weather. We need to do weather determination. We're going to use the Germans' weather, which was overcast, and we're going to roll in the overcast table to see what we get. 3. So it's still overcast. Stays as overcast. Overcast means, over here, overcast, that means 3 air points. So it means that the US and the British Canadians have these 3 column shifts. They can only do 1 per battle, but still an advantage. But that's the weather done. The next part is a supply phase, and up here, as I said, there's a 5/3 and a 5/3. So these guys here are going to get 3 points each. British Canadian goes to 7, US goes to 6. The 5 and the 5/3 is that they can only do 5 battles each. So even though they've got 6 and 7, they're only going to be allowed to do 5 battles each. So they've got to think about which ones they actually want to do, because they're limited, unlike the Germans who are unlimited. Right, next is replacements. Replacements. Again, same idea as the Germans. You have to be 3 hexes away from the enemy. So in this case, out of all of the units, this is the only guy who's actually applicable, but he is at 12, so he's at full strength. So he gets nothing. Difference here though is that the Allies get as many replacements as they want. So they could, in theory, replace all of their units if they were all more than 3 hexes away from a German unit. This time it's initial movement phase, and we can also bring in the reinforcements. The reinforcements have to come in up this very top row of hexes all the way along up to here. There is still a section of the map to the left, but doesn't count because there's water running down here. So they have to come from this guy here all the way back to the left. So replacements can come in up there, any of those hexes, and then they can move obviously down roads and whatnot. Right, movement. For movement, let's have a look up here, because we have 8 there, we have 9 there, but we have these guys who are a 4, a 4 and a 3. So they're 11. We have 8 and a 9. So that would still make it 1 to 1. But if we were to maybe move these guys up, that'd be another 12. So we could use the whole exiting the zone of control of this guy. So we've got 12 movement points, loads and loads, not a problem. 2 to exit the zone of control thing, and then to get into this whole blockage thing is 2. So that'd be 4 it would cost to go from here to there. And it means that effectively these 3 can gang up on this guy. So we'll see how that goes. Right, we have these 2 could gang up on this guy. In fact, oops, hang on. Mark, that guy has moved. Now, who else should we move? These guys, that's a 4 and a 2. Oops. There's 8 there. There's 9 there. Let's move this guy in just for the hell of it. Surround this guy. See what else we can do here. Oops, wait a minute. Mark him as moved. Okay, a bit more to the right here. Let's see what else we can do. We could move this guy. Well, these 2 guys, they're doing absolutely nothing sitting there. We could move them to here, just for the hell of it. Not really doing anything, but we'll put them there. And I'll just put the marker across both of them. This chap, I will move him, and again he's going to come down the main road, so he's going to have plenty of movement points. And yeah, loads. Straight down the main road into there. Now at this point I think I'll bring in our reinforcements. We have the Mr. Patton himself, and we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 units that are 4 strength, 12 movement. So we're going to bring in Mr. Patton. I don't know if, in fact I'm going to have a look it up. I don't know if he gets the American units a column shift for being an HQ. Don't know. Let's see. I could bring, yeah, I'll bring Mr. Patton up here. He can move 12, plenty of movement points, and I'll move him to there. I will keep, I think I'll keep the 3, 4 units. I think I'll keep them together and put them behind him. Last one is one of these little guys, and it's just to make a unit mobile. So I think we'll go for this guy, way over the very left hand side there. You don't see it, but way over there. Right, they're new, they're in, done. Right, combat. Again, same idea as the Germans, it works the same way. So we were thinking about this guy up here. So we'll get this guy. We have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he's 11. We have 8, another 9, and another 12. So we have 16, 17, 17 plus 12 be 29. 29 against these guys would give us 2 to 1. But these guys are in this yellow bocage, so 2 to 1 becomes 1 to 1 because they're getting a 1 column shift because of this bocage stuff. But it then becomes 1 to 2 because he's within range of this HQ unit. So it now drops to 1 to 2, so it's now in his favour. So maybe we'll give that a miss after all. Right, give that a miss. That was a bad idea. But we could pick on these guys. They are a 4. We got 8 there, 9 there. That would be 17. 17. They're a 4. That would make it 4 to 1 in our favour. -1 for the bocage, 3 to 1. -1 for being under the HQ. So we're now back to 2 to 1, which is better than 1 to 2 against this guy. So yeah, okay, we'll go with that. See what we can get. We're going to go 2 to 1 on this guy then. We get a 3. 2 to 1. Of course, it's a 1 to 1. So 1 damage or movement each. I'm going to take damage on this guy just to show how it's done, because this guy is obviously a 12 to start with. He then drops to a 9. When he takes the damage, what actually happens is we bring in the 6 marker. So he is now a 6 strength. So he's took that hit. So he's going to take the hit for the whole thing. These guys, they're not sure. If they take a hit, one of them has to go, or they're going to have to move. Now, actually, that could be a problem, because they have to take a hit, because if he moves to there, he's still in the zone of control of this guy, and if he moves to there, he's in the zone of control of this guy. So they're going to have to take a hit then. So they're down to a 2. Right, so that was 1 US battle. So they go from 6 supply to 5 supply. And I could have used one of the air points in that battle, but I didn't. Oh well. Let's have a look at this guy. See what we can do here. In fact, nah, this is not going to work out because he's a 6 in total. We have 8 there, 9 there, and 6 there. But this guy and this guy would be fighting across that river, so he would get a defensive bonus. So it's not really worth it. He would get a defensive bonus for the water, and he's not under an HQ rate enough, but still, it's not good enough. Although, maybe we could use an air supply point to bump it up. Okay, 8 plus 9 would be 17. 17 plus 6 would be 19. 19 against 6 would make it then 3 to 1. On the spot arithmetic, I don't like this. 3 to 1 becomes 2 to 1 because of the bocage. which, did I count the bocage with this guy up here? I don't remember. 2 to 1 because of the bocage. That would be it. Okay. Oh, wait, the water. Yeah, there was something else. The minor river would be 1 column left, so 2 to 1 becomes 1 to 1. Yeah, it's not really worth it, and I don't want to use my points. Nah, screw it. Nope. Abandon that idea. Okay, let's see if there's anything worthwhile over here. Now, while I remember, straight away, in case I forget, the black writing on green is obviously British Canadian. The white on green is American. You cannot combine the British Canadian and the American units. So I cannot use these guys to gang up on this guy. I could use these two, but not this guy. He has to go alone, unless, you know, he was using, you know, another one of these guys. So Americans and the British Canadians cannot fight together in a battle. Okay, with that said, let's have a look at this guy. He's a 4. We've got a 9 here. We've got a 12. We'll give me 21. That would be what, 3 to 1? Something like that? No. 4, 5, 5 roughly. Say 5. Say 5 to 1. 5 to 1. It would be 4 to 1 because of the bocage. And then it would drop to 3 to 1 because of the HQ unit. So we've got 3 to 1 on this guy using these two. That's not bad. Okay, we'll go with that. So this is going to come off the British side of things, British Canadian side of things. So 3 to 1 on this one. Then we get a 1, which is a 1, 2. Oh God. So I still got to take a hit. Good God. Right, okay. This guy can take a hit. He's a 12. He can take a hit. These guys, will they take a hit? I reckon they would retreat, because if they took 2 hits in this case, both of these guys would have to go. So I reckon they are going to take a retreat. Right, and I've marked that off that the British Canadians have got 6 supply left. Right, so they had a battle. I should actually try and use some of the American supply points, because they've still got 5 left. But I suppose they can carry them to the next turn. Right, these two have had a battle, so I could look at these two. Got a 7, a 9, would give us 16, against an 8, would give us 2 to 1. We'd be reduced to 1 to 1 for the bocage, and then we'd be reduced to 1 to 2 because of the HQ. I could risk it by using a point off our air points, so we'll chance it, which takes us back up to a measly 1 to 1 on this guy. And we got a 4. 1 to 1 is a 4, which is just a 1 on the attack side. So I have to take a hit or retreat for that. Oh, that's just great. Okay, these guys can retreat. That completely backfired. Good job, me. Right, so I'll say that guy and that guy. They have attacked. Right. So I shall move another point off the British supply points. Okay, what else we got? This is not going to be much cop, certainly not against these guys. Right, let's have a look further right. Okay, anything worthwhile up here? We have a 4. These guys are a 5. We have a 4 and a 12. It gives 16 against a 5. We should be a 3 to 1. And they... oh, there's a bit of water going across there. Oh, that was looking good there. That was a 3 to 1. Drops to a 2 to 1. Still not bad though. 2 to 1 on that guy. 2 to 1, and then it drops to 1 to 1 because of this HQ unit. Just down here. So we 3 to 1, 2 to 1, 1 to 1. So 1 to 1 against this guy. Let's do a 1 to 1, but we're going to use another point, another one of our air points. So we're going to go 2 to 1 now on this guy. 2 to 1 gets us a 1 on the defenders. So they have to either take a hit or retreat 1. Which I reckon they would retreat 1 over that river. So those guys have now had a battle. Let's see. 2, 4, 6. We have a 12. Are they anywhere special? Yeah, they're in a heavy forest, which gets them a bonus, so that's a bit crap. Okay, let's not do that. Right. Let's see what else we've got. These guys up here right enough. A 7 and a 9. I'll get 16 against this guy who's only a 2. Okay, that looks good. So we got 16 against a 2. Would give us 8 to 1. 8 to 1. And he's in light forest, which gets him no defender bonus, which is good. But he is under the command of this guy. So with these two, 8 to 1 drops to 7 to 1 for this guy. So let's see, 7 to 1. We get a 6, which is a 1 on defenders. So this guy has to either cop it or retreat. So he's inevitably going to retreat. Right. Okay, I am going to call that quits for combat, and we'll move on to the last section of this. Last section, mechanised movement phase. Same idea as the Germans, and it's just whichever unit has this little truck symbol on it, which is this guy, which I'm not going to move him, but another thing to think about with this mechanised unit is that if there's a battle and this chap here has to take a retreat, if he has to take a retreat, he loses this lorry symbol and he loses being mechanised. So something to think about before you just go slapping lorry icons on things. Right, that is it for a full turn. So there we go. A quick-ish look at Cobra from 1977, Strategy and Tactics magazine number 65.